Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
I definitely give him all the honor, glory, and praise being before you again. One thing I did want to say, I definitely appreciate, all the out-of-town members. You guys have definitely done my heart good to see you guys. To be honest with you, I didn't think that, I wasn't expecting to see you guys. I really wasn't. But given the fact that you're here, it helps encourage me more, to see you standing. And I definitely appreciate even the local members, those who decided to take off the jobs. One thing I looked at when Preacher brought it up again, I looked at, when we didn't have the right days, we did everything that we were supposed to. We did everything that we thought we were supposed to do. But and so now I looked at it for myself. Should nothing change? So I looked at it's just me. I looked at if I took off all the days before on the wrong day, I'm definitely gonna take all the days for the right day. If I stayed in the booth for the wrong day, I'm gonna stay in the booth for the right day. And I thank the Most High for that. I just wanted to say that for the out-of-town members. I appreciate you guys. But one thing that we got to consider, looking at how do we establish a better relationship with the Most High so that He will continue to increase our knowledge. Because without knowledge, we wouldn't have known this. We wouldn't have known the right days. And, we still would have been, trying to, we would have thought that we had the right time, but we would have been off because we didn't have no knowledge. And we ain't gonna get no knowledge if we ain't, if the Most High don't have favor with us. If we don't show Him that we want to have a relationship with Him. Give me the book of Alahym, chapter 13. Alahym, chapter 13 and verse 5. Alahym, chapter 13 and verse 5.
Amen.
What's that say?
Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have, for He hath said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee.
He said, I will never do what?
I will never leave thee nor forsake thee.
He said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Now we got to look at how can we fit that bill? How can we be the ones to where the Most High will never leave us or forsake us? What can we do to get to that point? Because we have examples. We definitely have examples. But how do we become that? To where I can say, okay, the Most High, He's never left me. He's never forsaken me. What do we have to do? Exactly. I should give you. Give me the book of Yehukanan, chapter 8, and verse 28. Matter of fact, verse 27. Yahukanan. CH makes that ch sound. Yahukanan. I'll try not to be before you long. Just a quick little message. Yehukanan 8 and 28. Matter of fact, 8:27. What's that say?
They understood not that He spake to them of the Father. Then said Yahusha unto them, when ye have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall ye know that I am He.
Then shall you know that I am He.
And that I do nothing of myself, but as my Father hath taught me, I speak these things. And He that sent me is with me. The Father hath not left me alone.
He's never left me alone. Because why?
For I do always those things that please Him.
Because I'm always doing the thing that pleases Him. That's the state that we all have to get to if we never want Him to leave us. Because we look at why we made so many mistakes in the past, because He ain't been with us. So many of us have confessed in times past, I went contrary to Yah, Yah contrary to me. So when we left Him, what did He do? He left us. What's that? The book of Zachariah, chapter 15 and verse 1. Beth. I'll write that down too. Zachariah. Words of the days. What does that say?
And the Ruach of Yahuwah came upon Azariah, the son of Oded. And he went out to meet Asa, and said unto him, Hear ye me, Asa, and all Yehudah, and Benjamin. Yahuwah is with you while ye be with him.
He said, what happened?
Yahuwah is with you while ye be with him.
He said, Yahuwah is with you while you be with him. So now we know, given the fact that, we have done things in the past where he has left us, that's the reason. Because I'm going to be with you while you're with, but, keep going.
And if ye seek him,
he
will be found of you.
But what happens if you forsake him?
But if ye forsake him,
then what?
He will forsake you.
And that's how we fall into so many problems. That's how we have fallen into so many problems in the past. Because we have led to our own understanding. We have gone to do things about our own way, and we haven't put him first. We haven't put him first. Truth be told, we really haven't. And that's why we've been put in so many detrimental positions in our past, because what did we do? We didn't put him first. We left him. So he left us. And that's the thing. That's the point that we all have to look at. Not just what we've done in our past, because that's the past, and let it be in the past, but look toward our future. How can we, in the future, go forward and say, okay, I want him to always be with me. Always. I never want him to leave me nor forsake me. So how do we do that? We got to get to a point where we always do the things that please him. We always got to do it. Whether we want to or not, whether our flesh calls for a behavior, what is the Most High pleased with? What does he want? People look at, oh, well, the Most High knows my heart. Yeah, that's true. He knows your heart. And out of your heart, that's the behavior that you're going to manifest. So you can look at, like, is the Most High pleased with your heart? Because your behaviors are going to show what's in your heart or not. And people are right. Yeah, the Most High is going to judge you. He knows your heart. And based on your heart, that's what's going to make your actions. Your actions are going to come from your heart. So you look at, okay, well, I want the Most High to be pleased with me. How can I develop a relationship with the Most High? Then look at the examples. Look at the examples of the people that came before us. It's not that hard. Give me the book of Alahym, chapter 11 and verse 1. Matter of fact, give me 11 and verse 6 first. 11 and verse 6. Nothing too deep, nothing too mystical. Just want to bring you guys into remembrance of some things.
Amen.
Try to help you, try to help us all out.
Amen.
Because what affects one of us affects all of us.
Amen.
We're a body. We're a family. We got to look at when one of us hurts, everybody hurts. When one of us fail, we all fail. If we're a body. So we got to look at that. We got to look at, for us being together, we all got to come up to the mark as one man, one heart, one mind, one direction. Can't be no stragglers. Everybody got to come to the mark. The book of Alahym, what does that say?
But without faith,
it
is impossible to please him.
It's impossible to please him without faith. It's impossible. You want to know what pleases the Most High? It's going to be faith. And what is faith? Back to verse 1. What is faith?
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Even though I don't see it, I still believe. Even though I might not be able to see the physical thing, I still believe. I still have faith. Because we walk by faith and not by what? Now, we don't walk by sight. We have to believe. What we hear, what we read. Give me the book of Romans chapter 10 and verse 13. Romans 10:13. Those are the things that we got to consider. We got to consider this stuff in our daily life, our daily walk. We got to look at, are we walking by faith? Or do we need to see something in order to believe it? What's that say? Romans chapter 13, Romans chapter 10, verse 13.
Amen.
What's that say?
For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahusha shall be saved. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed?
How are you going to call him in whom you've not believed?
And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? And how shall they preach except they be sent?
So you got to look at what's going to help your faith. What's going to increase your faith? The word. Hearing the word. That's what's going to increase your faith. But you have to believe it. I can't just go in here and listen to a sermon and just pass it off as if, okay, there's no power here. The power comes in through belief. That's how we walk. Even when we look at Abraham, our father, what did he do? Give me the book of, what is that, Romans chapter 4 and verse 20? Matter of fact, Romans chapter 4 and verse 18. It's looking at the examples. Because we have to put ourselves in position to where we are always doing the things that please him. So he'll never leave us alone. I don't want the Most High to leave me alone. I don't know about you guys, but I don't.
Amen.
I want him to always be with me. I need him to walk with me every day.
Amen.
Because if he leaves me, I'm in deep trouble. I'm in deep trouble. I mean, I've already been in that position once. I can't go back there again. I can't go back, where the Most High ain't with me. That's a bad day. That's a real bad day.
That's right.
You ain't gonna make it to the kingdom when he ain't walking with you. So you gotta look at where do you want him to be in your life? Where do you want him to be in your life? Because where you want him to be is where you're going to position yourself and what you're going to believe. That Romans 4, what's that say?
Verse 18?
Yeah.
Who against hope believed in hope,
Uh-huh.
that he might become the father of many nations.
Mm-hmm.
According to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be.
Uh-huh.
And being not weak in faith,
He wasn't weak in faith. Uh-huh.
he considered not his own body now dead,
Uh-huh.
when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb.
Uh-huh.
He staggered not at the promise of Alahym through unbelief.
He didn't do what?
He staggered not.
He didn't stagger. His faith was strong. He didn't stagger. He didn't say, okay, well, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure if I should move or not, or if I should, take off from work, or if I should go down there or travel down there, or if I should do whatever that the word says. I'm not sure I should do that. He didn't stagger. He said, okay, this is what I've been commanded to do. This is what the word say. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. He didn't stagger. And we have to look at it for ourselves. For the average of people that fall into so many problems, you stagger. And based on you staggering, that shows your unbelief. That shows that you don't have complete faith. That your faith is not strong. When you doubt, when you stagger, when you draw back. And we know his soul has no pleasure in who? In them that draw back. And when you're looking at drawing back, you're staggering. You're faltering because you don't fully believe. And that's where none of us can be anymore. We can't do what we've done in the past, where we stagger, where we doubt, we disbelieve, we fall back. We can't do that anymore. We gotta look at. I gotta go on. I gotta follow the example, follow the pattern of Father Abraham. I gotta go on into perfection. And the only way to do that is through faith. You have to believe. You have to desire. You have to really desire to have a relationship with this man. Because if you don't want a relationship, you're not going to do the things that please him. It's the same thing for a natural relationship. I can't say I want somebody, I want you, but I'm not doing what you like. Or I say, okay, well, I want you to want me, yet still I'm not telling you what I like. It don't work. A relationship don't work like that. And you have to show a person that you want them. We have to prove to the Most High that we want him. That's how any relationship works. I can't say, oh yeah, I want this person, but I can't say I want you, and then I'm not doing anything to prove that I want you. I'm not making you believe that I desire a relationship. I say, yeah, well, I want a relationship. Okay, but what am I doing? What am I doing that will cause her to say, you know what? I'm confident that he wants me, so I'm gonna give that back to him. You gotta look at what are you doing to the Most High to show him, like, look, I want this relationship. So I'm going to do the things that please you so that you can be with me and that you'll never leave me. If you want to look at a weak relationship, people that stagger. I was guilty of that. You stagger, you're not sure. And when you're not sure, yes, you will stagger. And when you stagger, it's like, okay, well, that person is unstable. I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure if I want this person. So that's going to be a failed relationship. It's the same thing with the Most High. When you say, okay, well, I want a relationship, but it's like, I'm not sure though. What if something else comes, something better? That's a failed relationship. You got to look at, I'm sealed. I'm 100% sure that this is what I want, and that you're who I want, and I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you by doing the things that you like, doing the things that you want. Because if not, you can forget about it. you can forget about it. But we got to look at what are some of the things that Abraham did to prove to the Most High. Because Job chapter 2 and verse 23, let's start looking at some of these things. And then, other brother, give me the book of Barashit chapter 12 and verse 1. And then the other brother, give me the book of Barashit chapter 22 and verse 1. What's the book of Job
Amen.
chapter 2 and verse 23 say?
And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed Alahym, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of Alahym.
He was called a friend of Alahym because of what? Why was he called a friend? Why was he called a friend? Because he believed. He was called a friend because he believed. He believed. You got to look at, well, do I want to be called a friend of the Most High? Well, then what do you got to do? You got to believe. Believe what? What did Abraham not stagger at? The promise. So when the Most High said, okay, I'm going to do something here, Abraham believed that. He said, okay, what? You know what? I believe that. I believe you're going to do what you say you're going to do. So I'm going to follow everything you say because I believe you. I believe that what you say you're going to do. Same thing with us. We got to look at we have to believe that what the Most High says he's going to do, he's going to do it. And we have to walk in that. We have to believe that, we have to trust that. If we want to be a friend. If we want to be a friend, if we want to have that relationship that, I mean, who all wants a relationship with the Most High? Who all wants to be called a friend of the Most High? Well, then you got to look at, if you want to be a friend, you got to do things that please him. What's the examples? Abraham. You have to believe. You have to believe. So let's look at some of the examples. Barashit chapter 12 and verse 1. What's that say?
Now Alahym had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in all thee shall all Mashpachak of the Aritz be blessed. So Abram departed, as Alahym had spoken unto him.
So Abraham did what?
Abram departed.
Abraham departed.
As Alahym had spoken unto him.
So you look at when Alahym said move, what did Abraham do? He moved. That man, when he heard Alahym say, okay, this is what I want you to do. I want you to leave your father's house. I'm gonna make you a great nation. So instead of doing some of the things that we've done, well, I want a confirmation on that though. I want to hear it from the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. I mean, is he sure? I mean, can I get a sign? Like if I trip over something, maybe that's my sign. Or if I see a bird flying through the air, maybe that's my sign. He looked at, well, what did I hear? What did he tell me? I didn't. He didn't have to look for no bird flying over the air or walk under a ladder or look at no black cat. What did the man say? What did the word say? What the word said, he did it. That's what separated Abraham in his faith from so many others. What does the word say? What did the Most High tell you to do? And what the Most High told you to do, you got to do it. If you want to have a relationship with him, if you want to be that person that the Most High will never leave nor forsake, you have to do what he tells you to do. You have to do what the word says. And we miss that a lot of times. We miss that. We look at, okay, well, maybe I move down the street. No, he said, I will bring you to a new land. But we try to make provisions. We try to do things that okay, well, I still kind of want to be close. So I'm gonna maybe I just move, a few houses down or a couple blocks down. No, he said, read that again. What did he say?
Now Alahym had said unto Abram,
Uh-huh.
Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house.
He said, leave the country. Not just get out of your father's house, leave the country. Leave your family behind. And what he say he's gonna do?
Unto a land that I will shew thee, and I will make of thee a great nation.
And I will make you a great nation.
And I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing.
So he didn't just say, get out of your father's house. He said, leave your entire country. And what Abraham do when he heard that? Did he move 2 or 3 blocks down and still try to justify it? He said, well, I did listen. I did move out of my father's house. Like you know, I'll just move a little closer, or I'll just stay a little closer. No, he obeyed to the fullest extent. He didn't just keep one thing and obey something else. He obeyed the whole thing. He obeyed the whole thing. And we look at how many times have we been guilty of, okay, well, I obeyed the Lord, you know, but you didn't go completely to obeying what he said. It was some things that you know the word said, but you left out. Because in your mind you justified, well, I did do this, but you didn't do it completely. And what separates him from us, he did it completely. Everything that the Most High told him to do, he did it. And that's why he was called a friend. He was called a friend because he believed. He believed. And his belief caused him to obey. Because what the Most High said, it's like, well, I don't disbelieve. And being the fact that I don't move showing my disbelief, he believed, and that showed, by him moving showed his belief. By him moving showed his belief. Now give me the book of chapter the Barashit chapter 22 and verse 1. Because we have to look at these examples.
Amen.
We have to look at these examples. If we want to be at the same state as these men were, we had to do the same things as these men. Chapter 22 and verse 1.
Amen.
What does that say?
And it came to pass after these things that Alahym did tempt Abraham and said unto him.
He tested him.
Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son, Yatsakut, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah.
Take thine only son,
and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him and Yatsakut his son.
He saddled off. What is that? Sod. You guys didn't catch that. That's good.
And took 2 of his young men with him and Yatsakut his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place of which Alahym had told him. Then on the third Yom, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Yatsakut his son. And he took the fire in his hand.
He took the wood and did what with it?
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Yatsakut his son.
And laid it on him.
And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together.
Okay, so Yatsakut had to carry the wood. It's the same wood that he was supposed to be offered on. He had to carry it, right? We see another example of that? Okay, keep going.
And Yatsakut spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
He said, here's the fire, here's the wood, but where's the lamb? Where's the lamb? Because we know a lamb has to be offered as a sacrifice. So where's the lamb at? Keep going.
And Abraham
and then,
said,
Other brother, give me the book of Yahukanan chapter 1 and verse 28. Because Yasechut, C-H, Yasechut said, where's the lamb at?
And Abraham said, My son Alahym will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
Abraham said, My son Alahym going to provide himself a lamb. Keep going.
So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which Alahym had told him of.
Because when you look at Yasahut, who was he? He was the son of what? The son of promise. He was the son of promise. So Abraham believed that you promised me this. You promised me this son. You promised me. So no matter what happens, I'm going to have a son of promise. So and he believed that. So it's like I can be put in a situation to where I love this thing. This thing that I love. I can be put in a situation where if the Most High says sacrifice it or get rid of it, if the Most High promised that to me, if I love the Most High, I believe that He's going to keep that. He's going to keep that for me. He's not going to take something back that He promised me. So I'm not going to lose it. Abraham believed that I'm not going to lose this thing that I've been promised. Keep going.
And they came to the place which Alahym had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order, and bound Yasakut his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son.
So we look at Yasakut. Not only did he carry what he was supposed to be sacrificed on, not only did he carry the wood, but when he got to the place, then Abraham did what? Abraham put Yasakut where?
And Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order, and bound Yasakut his son.
He bound him,
and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
And laid him on the wood. So first he was carried. So first Yasakut had to carry the wood, and then he was put on the wood.
And laid him on the altar upon the wood.
You know where this is going? You know where this is going. Go ahead.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the Malachi of Yahuwah of Alahym called unto him out of Shamayim and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him, for now I know that thou fearest Alahym, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns.
A ram caught in a thicket.
And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And Abraham called the name of that place.
And what's that? Give me Matthew chapter 27 and verse 29. Before you keep reading that, give me that Matthew 27. Matthew 27. For all those that are watching in, we call Matthew Write that down. For those that might be tuning in, can't forget you out there in TV land. Should write my left hand so that I'm ambidextrous too. You think that'll work? What's that say? Matthew chapter 27 and verse 29. Get right to the point.
And when they had platted a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head.
On his head. When they platted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head. So symbolizing what? Symbolizing a ram in the bush. Symbolizing him being caught in that thicket.
And a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him.
Now jump back to that Barashit. Let's finish reading what happened to the ram.
At verse 13.
Go ahead.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son.
Instead of his son. Instead of his son. Now give me the book of Yehukanan, chapter 1 and verse 28. Yehukanan 1 and 28. So he offered up the ram instead of his son. So we look at, if you're reading this, Yasakut was supposed to die, right? He was supposed to die. But he was asking, well, where's the ram? Where's the ram? Because something has to be sacrificed. So where's the ram? And when there was found no ram, when there was found no lamb, he was supposed to die, right? So who ended up dying for him? That ram. The ram ended up dying for him. He was looking for a lamb. Now give me that. And he was asking where the lamb is. Give me that Yehukanan chapter 1 and verse 28. What's that say?
These things were done in Beth Abarah beyond Jordan, where Yahukanan was baptizing. The next day, Yahukanan seeth Yahusha coming unto him,
And what he say?
and saith, Behold the Lamb of Alahym.
Behold the lamb. Yasakut was asking for the lamb. Here's the lamb right here. This is the lamb. This is the lamb that's supposed to die for who? He's supposed to die for us. He's dying for us because we look at in the state that we're in now. We look at give me the book of Romans chapter 6 verse 23. Romans 6:23.
Amen.
You don't just offer up a sacrifice for nothing.
Amen.
Whether it be sin, whether it be free will, you don't just do it for nothing. What does Romans chapter 6 and verse 23 say?
For the wages of sin is death.
The wages of sin is death. So when we look at the wages of sin we look at what caused the sacrifices in the past. Sin. So when we look at our situation today, our case, us having sin and us committing sin, we're supposed to die, right? We're supposed to die for our sins. Now, what's that? Give me the Romans chapter 5 and verse 8. Now, righteously and justly, we're supposed to die for our. We're supposed to die. We're supposed to die. According to law, we can expect death. We should have expected death for us. So when we look at Yasakut, he was supposed to die, right? So what ended up saving him? Ram, Yahusha. That was Yahusha he seen in that bush. That was Yahusha. So the same thing for us. Now, Romans 5 and 8.
Amen. But Alahym commendeth his love toward us in that while we were yet sinners,
what did the ram do?
the Mashiach died for us.
He died for us. The ram died for us. He died for us. He died for Yasakut. And we look at, we're in Yasakut's place because we're supposed to die. So not only did the ram save him, the ram saved us. Because it was Yahusha that carried that wood. Not only did he carry his wood, but he had to be put on the same wood he carried. So who was it? And that's what we got to look at. We have to believe that. We got to believe that when we look at what the word required, what the law requires, we were supposed to die, but we were saved. We were saved by a ram, just as Yasahut was. And we got and looking at why should that be important to us? Why should it even be important? Why should that be important? Because the relationship that Abraham had, the relationship that he had, he was called a friend. That's looking at what can save us. What can save us now is having that same relationship, being called a friend, having that same walk, having that same faith, that same belief, having that same relationship with the Most High. That saves us today. That saves us now. Because if you don't believe in Yahusha, then all that's in vain. And if you don't believe, give me the book of the Alahym again. Alahym chapter 11 and verse 6. Let's read that over. What does that say?
But without faith it is impossible to please him.
Without faith, it's impossible to please him. And we got to look at why was Abraham called a friend in the first place? Because he believed him. He believed him. And that's why he was called a friend. So what's going to spare us today? We got to be called a friend. And that way, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. He's going to be with us. He'll fight for us. He'll protect us. He'll make a way. So when we look at, oh, well, what's going to happen if I stand, if I believe the Most High? As I said before, you're not going to lose nothing. You never lose anything serving the Most High. Did Abraham lose anything that day? Because why? Because he believed. You ain't going. The Most High to show him, you ain't going to lose nothing serving me. You ain't going to lose nothing. So when we start to have doubts and disbelief and things come up in our mind, we start to question, oh, goodness, another 8 days, I got to do all this stuff over again. Are you gonna lose anything? Are any one of us asked to sacrifice our kids, our sons? I mean, all we're doing is asked to sacrifice some of our time. That's it, just time. And of course, yeah, your jobs might be a little sketchy, but really, is that more important than a child? For those parents, is your job more important than your child? So when you look at it, who was put in a more tight position, Abraham or you? And what Abraham do? I mean, it wasn't about no job. It wasn't about no time. Me sacrificing my time, sacrificing, my job. That man had to sacrifice his own son. And yet we stagger. We fall back. We start to doubt. We start to complain. I mean, what is that? That man had to sacrifice something so much better than what we're doing now. So we look at, are we really pleasing the Most High when we murmur and complain? When we mumble and grumble and start to doubt because we got to do what the Most High tells us to do? Look at your situation, look at Abraham's, and see which one is more drastic. And yet, even though his was more drastic, he staggered not. He staggered not. He didn't move. He didn't move. That man was going to die. But what? He believed the Most High. And when you believe the Most High, when you stand on it, you ain't going to lose nothing. Just like Abraham didn't lose nothing, you ain't going to lose nothing if you don't stagger. But he said, without faith,
it is impossible to please him.
But you had to have faith. You had to have faith. You had to believe that if I put my whole heart into this man, I'm going to be okay. It's going to work out. There's nothing for me to be afraid of. Why? Because I have examples. I have examples. Where Alahym 11:1. And I'm about to get out the way. But Alahym 11:1. Go ahead.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of Alahym, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Alahym a more excellent sacrifice than Cain.
By faith, he offered up a better sacrifice. By faith he did this.
By which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Alahym testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
So you look at, why was Abel's sacrifice better than Esau's? What did he say? He said by faith he offered a better sacrifice. Because without faith it's impossible to please him. So you got to look at, where's your faith at today? Where's your faith at today? Because that's going to be the only thing that pleases him. Of course we know that you still have to obey the laws, statutes, and commandments. But people still committed sin under that. They still committed sin. And was Yahuwah pleased with that? Of course not. Because you commit sin and he said, you know what? I can cover that because I'll just bring a ram. I'll just bring some turtle doves so I can cover my sin. I can plan and plot to commit sin. I can say, okay, I'm about to go have sex with this woman. All I got to do is bring a ram or bring a sin offering. I'll be good. And that's the reason that they couldn't be made perfect that way. Because there was no faith. There was no faith saying, you know what, I'm not going to commit sin. I'm not going to commit sin because he told me to. Not trying to get out of it saying, okay, I can still commit sin. All I got to do is just, bring a sacrifice. It wasn't that way. And that's what made Abraham so much better so much better. That's what makes faith so much better. That's what makes your obedience so much better. When it's not according to law, it's according to faith. Because I believe him enough to where I'm not even going to commit sin. Because why? Because that's not what he's pleased with. You have to know what pleases him and what he wants. Because if you don't know what he wants and how to please him, you're always going to be messed up. You're always going to be dibbing and dabbing. You're always going to be back and forth. You have to know what pleases him. But keep going.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Alahym had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony.
What?
That he pleased Alahym.
He pleased him. With faith.
But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Alahym must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. By faith, Noach, being warned of Alahym of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world, and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith.
So if that's the case, what saved Noach? Faith saved him. Faith saved him. Keep going.
By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed.
Obeyed.
And he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Yatsakut and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is Alahym. Through faith also Sarah herself received strength to conceive seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age.
Just look at this. Just look at what saved these people. What saved them? Faith saved them. Faith saved these people. So when you look at how's that correlate to you, what's going to save you? You think the just keeping the law, statutes, and commandments alone is going to save you? That's not going to save you. So what's going to save you? Faith. Faith. And faith come by hearing, and hearing by the word of Alahym. So what's going to save you? Not just doing the works of the law, but you have to have faith. You have to have faith, and that's the thing that people miss. All these Hebrew Israelite camps, these folks are so far off. All these folks, they're so far off. It's ridiculous because they miss the most important thing. What's going to save you is faith. What's going to save you is faith. Without it, you can't even please the Most High. You can't even please him. Keep going.
And was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithful who had promised. Therefore sprang there even of one, and him as good as dead, so many as the stars of the sky in multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the Aritz. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is, Shamayim. Wherefore Alahym is not ashamed to be called their Alahym.
Right.
For he hath prepared for them a city. By faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Yatsakut. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Yatsakut shalt thou seed be called, accounting that Alahym was able to raise him up, even from the dead.
Look at that. That man believed to that degree, where even if I kill him, the Most High can raise him up right there. Amen. He can raise him. I can bring my knife down, jam it in Yatsakut's chest or whatever. And I believe so much. I believe that he'll raise him up right there. He'll raise him up from the dead.
Amen.
That's why Abraham was called a friend, because he believed that much. Because you promised me this. You promised me this. And I know I'm not going to lose anything if I serve you. And if I do sacrifice him, you can raise him right back up. Because you promised me, your word. You told me that this was going to happen. And I believed you. So did Abraham lose anything serving the Most High? Will you lose anything serving the Most High? And that's the point that we got to get to. Don't worry about, what man might do to you, or what your family might do to you, or what somebody thinks about you or says about you. Are you going to lose anything serving the Most High? And we have to believe that. We have to get that ingrained in our minds, so the next time we get tried with another situation like this, we don't stagger. We don't mumble and grumble like some have done already. We don't stagger back and take a step back. Because we know if he'll do it for Abraham, he'll do it for me. If I believe and if I walk like Abraham did, then he'll do it for me.
Amen.
That's the point that we got to get to. We have to get to that point, because if not, we're just spinning our wheels. We're wasting time. That's the type of faith that we have to get to say, I'm not going to lose anything serving the Most High. I appreciate you guys' time. I thank the Most High for the opportunity. I hope this was a blessing to somebody. And amen.
Amen.